Do you know Aldura Sumner and Hezekiah Hatch? Hezekiah was a miracle child, the first baby to survive after 13 stillbirths. He was raised in a Vermont home of religious devotion and scholarship, son of a Revolutionary War vet. He served as a representative at the Vermont legislature for 8 terms. However, his wife's family were Tories. Aldura's grandfather, Thomas Sumner, fought in the French and Indian War in Quebec and became a United Empire judge under the British Crown. Thomas and his teenage son John, later Aldura's father, were both loyalists on the British side of the Revolutionary War and were exiled to Nova Scotia. They later returned to the United States during the War of 1812, helping the British in that failed cause, and then returned to Canada. No word on how these in-law relationships dealt with differing politics. Our loyalist lass, Aldura, was an energetic worker who especially enjoyed reading the Bible. Hezekiah's mother had promised to dedicate her son to the Lord, like Hannah of old, and Hezekiah had compiled a manuscript of his own sermons on religious topics entitled Universal Salvation, but he destroyed this once he learned of the gospel's true teachings. After baptism, Hezekiah was set apart as a missionary. He brought the gospel to his parents and his wife and children. Aldura, her brother, and son Lorenzo were baptized in the Lincoln River by means of a saw-cut hole in the 1-foot-thick ice. Aldura prepared for the move west to join the saints with bolts of linen, a barrel of handmade yarn, yet tragedy followed the Hatch family's conversion. First, their infant son Moroni died. Next, Aldura contracted a contagious sore throat called black tongue from the missionary's daughter she was caring for. Her death prompted an anti-Mormon backlash as neighbors questioned the family's belief in healing. Aldura's last words encouraged her husband to take the children where they could live the principles of the restored gospel. The Hatches moved west with 8 other convert families, a total of 52 travelers. Hezekiah took 6 good horses, 2 wagons, and a cook. In KnoWho, he bought a farm 6 miles east of town, as well as a corner lot 2 blocks east of the temple. He built a fine 2-story brick house at the front porch where the family was able to hear the gospel preached by Joseph and Hiram Smith and Brigham Young. Hezekiah worked on the KnoWho temple, hauling loads of stone from the Mississippi River, as noted here in his account book. He was planning to remarry when he became ill with bilious fever and died on his intended wedding day. Brigham Young preached at his funeral. Hezekiah's younger brother, who married Sidney Rigdon's daughter, took charge of the estate, sold everything, and defrauded the children. Hezekiah's daughter Adeline was 10 years old at her father's death. Years later, she had a vision about events she was too young to have been involved in at the time. Adeline was shown that Dr. Robert Foster, who helped murder the prophet Joseph Smith, had also poisoned her father, Hezekiah. Son Lorenzo remembered that Dr. Foster was called in to make Hezekiah's will when he was sick and asked for the trunk in which Hezekiah kept his papers. While looking for writing paper, Dr. Foster found a promissory note for money he owed Hezekiah. Lorenzo saw Dr. Foster take papers out of the trunk, including the note and some cash. He then told Hezekiah he would cure them, gave the nurse some powders in little parcels, and told her to give them every half hour. Hezekiah died shortly thereafter, and when the family tried to collect the money Foster owed them, he claimed he had paid it, and the note was gone. Hezekiah's account book verifies this story, as several pages are ripped out and Dr. Foster's name found at the end listed in the estate sale. And now you know these pioneers who died before their journey was through, yet whose conversion made all the difference to generations. Aldura Sumner and Hezekiah Hatch.